Hello everyone, welcome to my new video. This is an additional video for my previous talk about the SuperHDR 2.0 on the channel of QooCam 8K. And to save your time, I want to make that video very short and yet very interesting, very fast paced. But for those of you who want to dive deeper into the SuperHDR 2.0 and want to know every detail, want to know what on earth is happening under the SuperHDR 2.0, this is a video you should watch carefully. For the Canon QooCam 8K, it actually is an excellent camera for 360 photography, and I have made previous 3 episodes focused on its killer features: the RAW Plus, the SuperHDR, the initial stage, and a very simple and very clever combination with the Express DNG8 and the in-camera RAW Plus. The next generation QooCam 8K is here now once again. So let's get to the agenda for this talk, and I will also share the slides with you under the video description. Agenda is very compact. I will first take you to the previously about the SuperHDR, the initial stage, and I want to share with you the pros and cons about the SuperHDR. And we're gonna dive very deep into what has been changed on the SuperHDR 2.0 and the powerful use case, some live demo, and the summary for you to have a better understand about the SuperHDR 2.0. Okay, so previously on the SuperHDR, you should see that you should have a basic understand, especially on the pipeline. But before that, that is way too much scientific. I want to share with you some of the sample footage, sample image that has been captured based on the initial stage of the SuperHDR feature. This is a high dynamic range interior shot in a luxury hotel, which I have also shared with you the workflow on my previous video. Okay, so this is another shot with the above in the air, floating in the shot, and still very high quality. And here is the key part, the pipeline. You should learn that every step, every detail that has been done on the backstage. So to capture the SuperHDR mode, the camera we're going to capture the 3 individual Express DNG set with EV0, -3, and +2. So altogether 24 DNG capture and the backstage with the real-time merge without the ghosting and more. You can see that this is the initial stage. The first step is to capture Express DNG8 in 3 individual Express settings, and the next step is to merge and without the ghosting. Thus, you're gonna get 3 high-quality 16-bit DNG file together with a JPEG file with some local tone mapping. And next stop is on the initial stage, you're gonna have to use a flexible model iPhone or Android devices. But now, most of the devices is compatible with the SuperHDR. But at that moment, you're gonna have to wireless transfer with the QooCam app to copy and paste all the JPEG file during your SuperHDR capture and produce the HDR synthesizing HDR merge with local tone mapping that could get an on-stage dual fisheye image on your mobile platform. And the final step is the stage with auto leveling and more about the chromatic aberration removal and the fringe algorithm that to produce high quality 8K JPEG file with perfect stitch and high dynamic range in JPEG 8-bit depth file. So we're gonna get is only a JPEG file on the mobile platform, and everything was done based on the basis of 8-bit JPEG file on your phone. So let's go to the overview about the SuperHDR. This is the overview about the pipeline of the initial stage of the SuperHDR. If you take a closer look at the pipeline based on the timeline, you're gonna see that this is actually everything that is happening on the timeline. So the first time with the EV0 capture, 8 shot in burst, and later on is the stack and merge. You're gonna take some time, and later on the EV-3, 8 shot in burst, and stack and merge. EV+2, 8 shot in burst, stack and merge. Actually, the stack and merge gonna take you a lot of time. The time cost is way too long for me, especially when you have a faster paced capture. The shooting process is just way too long. I have mentioned in my previous episode that the time cost is around 25 to 40 seconds to capture a series one set of SuperHDR shot. That is because the stack and merge gonna cut the whole process into different parts, and that is a time gap. We want to be super fast, at least lightning fast, because the Canon company is a very hardcore company. There are tons of amazing engineers who want to make it super fast with a brand new pipeline. That is, take another look at, zoom in on the timeline for the SuperHDR. You're gonna see that everything is happening with a single set of express DNG 8 shot in capture in burst, and save with another pipeline. And later on, after all the capture for 8 shot in burst, it is stacking. The stacking gonna take some time. And after this stacking, you're gonna continue to capture another set of express DNG with the shorter exposure time. It is even shorter than the readout time of your imaging sensor, and stack will take some time. Actually, the stacking process will take equal time in between each shots. And for the EV+2, the longer exposure shot, it is a pipeline actually. So the stacking has generated some time gap. So if we zoom out to see the overview about timeline, you can see that there are two obvious time gap in between the timeline. That will lower your efficiency to make it less user-friendly. So this is a key problem of the initial stage for the SuperHDR effect, especially that will slow you down with the shoot process. To get rid of the time gap is not that easy. You're gonna need a much better, much power efficient, the power management, a much better memory management, and much better algorithm for the image sensor. But luckily enough, the Canon engineer found a very smart solution that has wiped out all the time gap. So in the SuperHDR 2.0, there is no time gap anymore. The camera, the hardware, the power beast will capture 24 DNG shot in a single burst without time gap and stack in real time after all this capture, so that in this brand new multi-pipeline in parallel, there is almost no time gap. Actually, there is almost no time gap. The time cost for you to capture each shot is 24 exposure time. Well, after the shutter sound, you're gonna put your camera to another shooting spot, and once you are getting ready for the next shot, the first shot, the stacking, the merge, the HDR synthesizing, the tone mapping, the auto stitch in camera, everything was done before you get to the next spot. This is much more efficient and this is much more powerful. And this is a brand new algorithm for image sensor, the hardware, the architecture, and this is a very brilliant multi-pipeline in parallel. Another great news for you is that now the QooCam 8K support auto stitch, which means that the QooCam 8K could actually stitch in 8K in JPEG format, produce a perfect rectangular image. The stitching quality is exactly the same as the QooCam Studio 2.0 directly in your camera. So that is to say, the in-camera 8K stitch is now possible, and it was provided you as an option on the QooCam 8K. And after all this new pipeline, you're gonna get 8K JPEG file with stitch result straight out from your image storage, and you can just skip every workflow and produce directly deliver your customer your result with the SuperHDR feature. All these features, all this update about the SuperHDR 2.0 dramatically reduce the difficulties when you want to master SuperHDR, because it's just put your camera in the correct spot with the best viewpoint, click on the shutter button, everything was happening, the 24 DNG shot being captured, the stacking, the HDR merge, synthesizing, local tone mapping, stitch 8K in the camera. So press the shutter button, you can copy and paste your data, your final result to your customer. And for those of you who want to have squeeze out every pixel, every detail in the image, want to make the full advantage of the 3 high quality express DNG file, the conventional workflow for the PC, the Mac, it's still working, and you can still deliver a very professional content with more time consuming and with more effort. I want to make a summary about this SuperHDR 2.0, and let's call it 2.0 because I think from now on the SuperHDR is much more powerful and much more efficient compared with the initial stage, and it is definitely a 2.0 update for this killer feature on the Canon QooCam 8K. For the summary, I think this is another genius auto export bracket in combination with the Express DNG8 that deliver a very powerful approach to all the customers, the photographers, the beginners, the 360 lovers. And it is definitely another virtual tour killer features that will boost your capability to be very capable in the virtual tour industry. And it's also a great feature for the beginners as well, because if you want to be simple, just press the button and you are good to go. It's just so easy and so intuitive and so user-friendly. And this is definitely another Canon style approach for the HDR shooting and the post-processing. You know, Canon company is a very hardcore company and also delivers deliver many computational photography features on the basis of the QooCam 8K's powerful platform. You know, the Canon company is a very hardcore 360 camera manufacturer that deliver many computational photography tricks and features into the powerful platform on the Canon QooCam 8K. And I'm just very happy to see that the engineers just push the boundaries another step forward with the brand new 2.0 update about the SuperHDR. So this is another definitely great Canon style HDR approach that will boost your ability to use the QooCam 8K to the next level. I still have some future expectations for the SuperHDR, maybe 2.1, 2.2, or maybe 3.0, maybe in the late feature. That is to say that I want to have export composition settings. Sometimes I want to make the EV0 shift to the EV+1 or EV-1, have a more precise control on the total dynamic range. And the next one is sometimes I still need manual control, because with such approach of SuperHDR, I could still sometimes cannot get the very best result, because the real world is much more complicated than the machine, and sometimes we do have to use our human history, we do have to use our human minds to judge the exactly control the export settings. And next one is I want Canon to deliver the 16-bit floating format in DNG, that is the HDR DNG, which THETA has delivered a dual fisheye plugin on the THETA D1. And if you want to know more about the HDR DNG, you can refer to my video talking on the dual fisheye plugin on the THETA D1. That is just so powerful that could deliver HDR in a single RAW format, and still could maintain a very small and compact DNG size and the most possible dynamic range in a single DNG shot. That is just insane. And also sometimes I do want this pipeline, this workflow to be even more efficient, because sometimes for EV-3 we want to bring back the detail in the highlight. That is to say, we don't have to use that much shot in burst. Sometimes 4 shots in DNG and stack, that is good enough, and even sometimes only 1 capture for the highlight, because the native signal to noise ratio for the highlight is really good. You don't have to use 8 shots in burst. And for the EV+2, most probably you want to capture more detail, reduce the noise, increase dynamic range on the shadow and the dark area. That is to say, sometimes 8 shots in burst is just not enough. Sometimes we need 16 or maybe 16. Sometimes we need 16 or maybe 60 or 64, because you can increase the signal to noise ratio by the square root of the burst number. So for the dark area, sometimes we want more capture. We want to have 16 shots in burst. We're gonna have 4 times better signal to noise ratio for dark areas. That will increase your imaging quality to the next level. And for the highlight, I think the single capture or maybe 4 capture is more reasonable, that is more efficient, and the adaptive stacking number on the basis of the export settings in the Express DNG8, we're gonna make your SuperHDR much more efficient and much more reasonable. And that we should rethink about the export strategy for the SuperHDR and to make some change to involve the SuperHDR to the next level. I'm never satisfied with one feature of 360 camera, and I want always dream for the best, presume for the best quality. This is the end of the slides. I will also share the slides on my video description, and that is all what I want to share with you, what I have learned, what I have understand about the SuperHDR 2.0, and I hope this additional video will help you make a better understand. And I hope this additional video will help you make a better understand about the SuperHDR 2.0 on the Canon 8K and take you and your 360 photography to the next level. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to thumb up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. So until next time, bye.